Goldman Sachs absolutely regrets taking on the Apple Card. They don't want anything to do with it. They've lost close to $3 billion already, and most Goldman Sachs execs say it's a distraction from their true business on Wall Street. Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon even said,
"We did too much too quickly."
That's why they're in private discussions to sell the Apple Card contract to Amex. And Chase just emerged as a potential partner. But here's the thing. Apple doesn't really care. Apple just gave Goldman Sachs a proposal to end their customer banking partnership within the next 12 to 15 months. Apple is feeling just fine. They could end up turning into a major bank, rivaling Visa and MasterCard, and making more money than ever off of their iPhones and MacBooks. First, the Apple Card can be used to boost product sales. The Apple Card is tied in with the Apple ecosystem, which is a big deal. You know how Apple products work seamlessly together, right? The same principle applies here. By having an Apple Card, it becomes super convenient for you to buy more Apple products. It's like having a special wallet that works best at your favorite store. Now just about anybody can afford to buy every Apple product, no matter the price. And because the Apple Card offers better rewards for purchases made on Apple products, it's like getting a pat on the back every time you buy something from Apple. Naturally, this can encourage more frequent purchases from Apple's own stores or services. Secondly, there's this thing called brand loyalty. Apple users often love their products and feel a strong connection to the brand. The Apple Card being an Apple product itself strengthens that bond. It's not just a credit card, it's an Apple Card. This makes Apple enthusiasts more likely to use it for purchasing Apple products. Next, the Apple Card can be used for data insights and user behavior. The Apple Card isn't just a financial tool, it's a gold mine of data for Apple. Every single time you use their Apple Card, you're not just making a purchase, you're also sending a stream of data Apple's way. This data includes where you're shopping, what you're buying, and how much you're spending. It's like a constant feedback loop about consumer behavior, and for a company like Apple, that's incredibly valuable. Now just think about it. Apple is in the business of making products and services that people want. To do that effectively, they need to understand their customers inside and out. The Apple Card gives them a direct line into your spending habits and preferences. This isn't just about seeing what stores are popular, it's about getting insights into the lifestyle and choices of their customer base. For instance, if they notice a trend in Apple Card users spending more at fitness centers or on health apps, that can then influence Apple's decisions on health-related features in future products. Apple is open about collecting info on how you use Apple Pay and your connected cars. They retain transaction info, including purchase amount, and use it to make improvements, they say. Considering the size of Apple's user base and the breadth of their product and service offerings, the potential for actionable insights is really huge here. These insights could be more valuable than the immediate profits from the card itself. It's like having a constantly updating map of consumer trends, and for a tech giant like Apple, that's an invaluable tool for staying ahead of the curve. By leveraging the data from the Apple Card transactions, Apple isn't just earning from the card, it's also fine-tuning its understanding of its customers, which can lead to better products, smarter marketing, and ultimately a stronger connection with its user base. But I can totally understand if you're worried about Apple having that much data about you in their possession and you're doubtful of their privacy terms. Because identity theft is the fastest growing crime in America, with a new victim every 14 seconds. I've been a victim of it too, with my personal information exposed in the Equifax data breach just a few years back, and that's why I partnered with Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura is an easy to use app that includes everything you need to stay safe online. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers by scanning the dark web. This is where criminals sell stolen information looking for your email passwords and social security numbers. It alerts you fast if it finds anything. For me, it found 30 instances of my personal data out there. Aura helps you fight back against those annoying websites that make your personal information public by automatically requesting removal of your info. Aura gives you near real-time alerts for suspicious credit increases, like if someone's opening a loan or a credit card in your name. Their VPN keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. They protect your devices from viruses, and Aura even helps you manage what your kids do on their devices. You can restrict certain apps and manage screen time so that they're not browsing YouTube when they should be doing their homework, and their password manager lets you store and access passwords for online websites securely. Now, maybe you already have an app that does one of those things, but with Aura, you don't have to download and pay for 7 different apps. You can let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online, and if you sign up through my link below, you get a 2-week free trial of the service, and you'll be shocked at how much of your personal information Aura finds out there in those 2 weeks. So go to aura.com/Cal Barton and click my link below, or just scan the QR code on the screen. Now, the next reason Apple could really care less is because they're charging interchange fees for the Apple Card. These fees are when the cardholder's bank charges the merchant's bank whenever you swipe, tap, or click with your Apple Card. They usually range from 1% to 3% of what you're spending, depending on the card and where you're shopping. Now, we don't have the exact numbers on how much Apple rakes in from these fees from the Apple Card, but it's common knowledge for most of these credit card issuers. These fees are really where the money's at. In many cases, they're the main source of income. Apple partners with Goldman Sachs, which is the issuing bank for the Apple Card, and it works on the MasterCard network. While Apple isn't a bank, it still gets a slice of the pie when it comes to these fees. This income is a key part of making the Apple Card profitable. Even some parts of it, like the rewards or financing options, don't bring in as much cash. Now, let's say the interchange fee is around 1.5%, and the average amount spent per transaction is $100. That means each time someone uses their Apple Card, it generates $1.50 in fees. And that doesn't sound like much, right? But imagine millions of people using the Apple Card for all sorts of purchases. The total can add up pretty quickly. Of course, Apple and Goldman Sachs keep the actual numbers under wraps, so we're working with assumptions here. But given how popular Apple's gadgets and services are, and how the Apple Card is tied in with Apple Pay, it's a safe bet that there's a hefty volume of transactions happening here. That means a solid stream of revenue from these interchange fees. The Apple Card also has some decent perks like cashback rewards and no extra fees, which encourage people to use it more. The more it's used, the more fees it generates. The strategy of getting people to use the card more to rack up more in fees is pretty standard for credit card issuers, and Apple's probably playing the same game with this card. And that really leads into the next point, because Apple is trying to grow their Apple Pay payment network. The relationship between the Apple Card and Apple Pay is a really remarkable example of how Apple is leveraging its ecosystem to boost up its presence in the digital payment space. It's really interesting to see how these two products work together to drive Apple revenue and market share. Starting with Apple Pay, its growth in revenue over the last few years has been nothing short of impressive. In 2019, it generated a solid $998 million. The next year to 2020 saw a slight increase to $1.05 billion. And in 2021, there was a small dip, bringing it down to $1 billion. But then again in 2022 marked a significant leap to $1.9 billion. Now, looking ahead to 2023, the expectations are set very high, with projections of around $4 billion in revenue. And Apple has shown that they were able to quadruple their growth in just 4 years, and it's a clear indicator that Apple Pay is becoming increasingly popular. Now let's talk about how the Apple Card fits into this. Apple charges a 0.15% interchange fee on every transaction processed through Apple Pay, which may seem modest at first glance. However, like with the Apple Card, when you consider the sheer volume of transaction, it adds up to a significant amount. The introduction and promotion of the Apple Card has played a crucial role in this. The card is designed to work seamlessly with Apple Pay, encouraging users to choose the digital payment method for its convenience and 2% cash back for purchases made using Apple Pay instead of the physical card. And what Apple is able to do here is get paid from the Apple Card transaction at around 1.5% and get paid again from Apple Pay transactions at 0.15%, all in one go. In addition to that, Apple essentially becomes a payment network like Visa and MasterCard. So anytime you connect another bank's credit card to Apple Pay and you use it, Apple takes a cut from those transactions too. That's genius. The way Apple Card and Apple Pay work together, it's not just some smart business move. It's really about how Apple is so good at connecting all its products into this one big, seamless ecosystem. It's like each piece of the puzzle, in this case, the card and the payment system, helps the other shine more. And because they help each other out, they're both making more money. Now, another reason Apple just doesn't care is they're able to negotiate better terms. You know, as Apple Pay and the Apple Card keep growing their user base, it's like they're gaining more clout to negotiate better deals with partner banks and those credit card companies on their network. It's all about showing off how big and diverse their customer pool is. This isn't just about bragging rights. It actually gives these partners a golden ticket to tap into some really high-end markets. Imagine being a bank or credit card company and getting a chance to reach out to all these different customers in new places or segments you haven't touched before. A credit card underwriter recently mentioned that companies will pay to be marketed as a discount partner or bonus category for a credit card. Apple could start charging their 3% category merchants like Nike and Walgreens more money to be featured alongside the Apple Card. They could take a larger piece of the payment processing pie from any credit card company that uses Apple Pay as well. You know, Visa and MasterCard were rumored to increase their credit card swipe fees this year, and we know those types of fees have a history of being raised over time. Now, the larger their network becomes, the more they can hike up the price of admission for companies to join in. Another reason Apple just doesn't care is they're working on a long time horizon. Apple's strategy has always been about looking far down the road. It's about the long game. The Apple Card is a step in that direction, adding a financial service to their already diverse offering. As of Q4 of this year, Apple has $162 billion of cash on hand. They have the luxury of waiting years for a new product to develop and become more profitable over time. Next, Apple doesn't care because they're trying to drive new innovation and test the market. The Apple Card isn't just a new product, it's a clear signal that Apple is dipping its toes into the financial service waters. This move is classic Apple, always pushing into new territories, testing the waters, and seeing what innovative solutions they can bring to the table. The Apple Card serves as sort of a laboratory for Apple, giving them a real-world platform to experiment with and learn from in the financial sector. Consider how Apple has always been about innovation, from revolutionizing personal computing with the Macintosh to reshaping the music industry with the iPod and iTunes, and then transforming the mobile phone market with the iPhone. Apple has a track record of entering and then dominating new markets. The financial services sector seems to be their latest frontier. It's the learning and experience that Apple's gaining which is invaluable. Just take a look at Apple's timeline. In 2014, they launched Apple Pay. In 2019, they launched the Apple Card itself. And then this year, they launched the savings account and their buy now, pay later service. It's clear to me where things are trending. And Apple is kind of a bank already because they're already licensed to handle the lending for its buy now, pay later service through Apple Financing LLC. And when Apple does decide to take over some of the other products they launched with Goldman Sachs, we already know they won't be afraid to lend high credit limits to their customers. That's because I found one person who was able to increase their Apple Card credit limit by $10,000 twice, all the way up to a $40,000 credit limit. Check out the next video to see exactly what strategies they use to get it done. Thank you for watching.